Okay.
Now we are.
I see recording up in the corner.
He just did it.
In the time.
We're ready.
Good evening. The North Rock School District Office of the Superintendent agenda for the special school meeting administration office at 2400 Willow Street in North Rock, Arkansas. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the meeting will be held via Zoom video conference for participants. Viewers will be able to watch the VA North Rock Facebook page live stream. And again, Monday, August 10th, 2020, 5:30 p.m. And we thank you and welcome you to on our Facebook page live stream. At this time, I will officially call the meeting to order. Ms. Cole, quick call the roll, please.
Sandy Campbell.
Here.
Elizabeth Huggins.
Here.
Rochelle Redis. Tracy Still. Cindy Temple.
Here.
Natalie Wacom.
Here.
Dorothy Williams.
Here. At this time, we officially open for new business and employment of personnel and administrative transfers that is on page 3. And Dr. Smith.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I asked the board that you guys approve the transfer, the classified, and the certified agendas for hire.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move to accept the employment of personnel.
Okay. I need a second.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept employment of personnel, A, and employment transfers, B, for all employees and personnel classified and licensed. Did you combine them, Dr. Smith? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
It's been moved and properly second. Those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, ayes have it, so the motion has been carried. At this time, we have an amendment to the agenda.
Madam President,
Yes.
I'd like to amend the agenda to add the school uniform.
Okay.
You gotta second that. Did you do it? Yeah. Second.
Okay, it has been moved and properly second that we amend our policy because of the efforts of pandemic, that the students can have a relaxed, there's no uniform policy. So therefore, because of the pandemic, we are having a no uniform policy, that the children can come to school the way the parents dress them. So, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Sandy, Ms. Temple?
Aye.
Okay,
Well, we are gonna, I mean, they can't come to school and do anything. They still have to be dressed with modesty and those types of things, correct?
Yes.
I mean, yes. Okay.
what we're saying, they come to school neat and clean and still dress in moderation. And a principal has that power to know that a child is not dressed properly. And as you say, in modesty, that we know that we didn't change the rules on by how high your shorts are and all of that. That has not changed. We are talking about mainly where we have the elementary and the middle school kids that have to work, parents have to buy uniforms. Does that answer your question, Ms. Temple?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, and thank you. So it has been moved and properly second and the motion been carried. Question, Dr. McGee.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, good evening. I want to just make sure we add something to those parents who will be in need. We want to make sure that we want them to know that we will be there to help them like we normally do in the past with their clothing. So those families who still are in need, we can still be able to work with Ms. Riggins. They can still work with Ms. Riggins to make sure that we get the proper attire that they will need to move forward and having a successful school year this year.
Okay, and last week I would like to apologize to Ms. Riggins because she does do the homeless program, but also it's a collaboration between our schools that if you find any child that needs anything, as a social worker in the district, she provides those services. So it's not just homeless, it's all the schools in the district. All a principal has to do is merely contact her and everything is settled. And again, thank you. We did carry the motion and it was approved. Okay,
Madam President,
yes.
I so move that we go into executive session so we can start the interviewing process for the new superintendent of North Little Rock School District.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that we consider the interview and employment for the new superintendent. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank
Aye.
Okay, are we out of executive session? We're back to the public there.
Are you all okay? Yeah, I don't know what did you make a decision as to how many?
Yes,
Okay. How many?
3.
Okay, are y'all gonna go with the ranking or you don't have to go with the ranking. As I said earlier, you can choose whoever y'all want to.
Okay, we're going with the ranking. We're doing everything right.
Okay, so you're gonna follow the ranking. And
Right.
if I understand, do you want the public to know at this particular time, the 3 of y'all gonna name as finalists?
Yes.
No,
Okay,
Now what?
it's up to y'all.
What do you mean by that?
well, in other words, do you want to release the 3 finalists' name tonight? We'll probably have the newspaper on tonight. Well,
Yeah, you can do that.
okay. Well, the first, if I understand it, the top candidate was John Tharp.
Yes,
The second candidate was Dr. McGee.
yes.
And the last one was Dr. Paluski,
Yes.
Mr. Paluski, soon to be Dr. Paluski.
Okay,
Those are the 3 candidates that we will make contact with. I will make contact with tonight and notify them. And I will also notify the other 2 as to how the board voted. I would like to say that next week, the interview will be involving the public. And to be fair, what we plan to do is have all 3 candidates available and let the community just ask each candidate a question, and each candidate has to answer the same question. I felt that if we tried to do it per hour, one candidate or another candidate, somebody could probably listen and probably hear what the community is going to ask. So by having all 3 available, and each person has to answer the question separate, much like they do with the president interviews, I think that would be the best way. I will get with Ms. Williams and determine the time, and we'll be able to get that information out to the public as to what time it will be. Probably about 45-minute interview. After that, the board will have to re-interview each of those candidates, a short interview, maybe 30 minutes. We have a few questions that we'll provide for you all just to kind of get a final interview. And then, of course, on the 17th next week will be the night that the board is expected to make a decision as to which candidate you select for the next superintendent of the North Little Rock Public School District.
okay.
How are you getting feedback from the community?
That's what we're going to work on. Quinn, do you have any ideas behind that? Can we do SurveyMonkey or some type of survey link to be able to get the information to the board members, the feedback in between them interviewing them?
Yes, sir. So we have a survey that is similar to the matrix for the public. Rather than choosing a candidate, it's similar, not to the matrix, but more similar to a candidate impression form. So asking about how you feel this candidate does in this particular area. So we're not asking them to pick which candidate, but rather share feedback about each candidate. So I'll be working with Rhonda and communicating with Miss Dorothy to give her some examples of what we've done in the past, and we will refine it to make it fit the needs of the North Little Rock School District, at which time we will send out the survey to anyone participating in the Zoom call for the public forum. and they will be able to fill it out. We'll have probably a fairly small window in which they can fill it out because you all will be making that decision on the same day. So we will say the survey will be open from the conclusion of the meeting and set an end time. I will collect all of the data, formulate some charts for y'all, give you some actual comments that individuals leave, and then I will present that data to you all in an easy to view PowerPoint.
Okay, are there any
While
questions?
y'all are interviewing those 3 candidates for 30 minutes before you make a decision, we'll have that feedback for you before you make your final decision.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board members that you would like to ask Dr. Davis before he and the young lady move out? Ms. Higgins?
So are community members actually going to be able to ask questions?
Well, I spoke to Ms. Williams, and that is exactly what she wants them to be able to ask questions directly. We thought about asking them to provide us with questions beforehand and moderating it that way, but I think that if they, myself and Ms. Queen will be on the Zoom with you all, and if somebody asks a question that we deem to be a question that's probably not good, we'll just interrupt it and deal with it at that particular point. Unless you all want to accept questions this week, and then we will present them that way. We could do that if you want to.
Done it both ways before, our firm has, so it's very feasible for whatever you all.
I'm sorry, Dr. Davis, you went out. That was an important point, but I couldn't hear you.
Well, we're saying if we could have the question to be live, that the community just call in like they did me and ask me questions. If you want to do it that way with Zoom, they can call in and ask the candidate the same question. All 3 candidates got to answer that question. We could do it that way, or if you wanted to receive questions this week from the community, and myself or Ms. Quinn and I would answer those. I mean, would ask them. We could do it that way. Whichever way the board wants to do it. We could do it live, or we could do it with them giving us questions beforehand.
I would vote for live, and then just let them ask whatever questions they want to ask.
Okay. Well,
but I agree with all 3 of them have to answer the question though.
Right. Yeah.
And we plan to, if we do that live method, then we'll alternate who has to answer the question first each time. So, candidate 1 will answer question 1 first. Candidate 2 will answer question 2 first. They'll all answer, but we will make sure that it's a rotation as to who has to go first so that equity is present in the question and response portion.
To make it fair.
And how long will it last?
Well, now we were thinking 45 minutes, but with 3 candidates, we might have to go an hour.
Not 45 minutes. It don't take us that long.
It won't take that long.
Okay.
We'll have a time schedule. Let's put a time on that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. 45 minutes, it sounds good.
Yeah.
An hour is just 20 minutes apiece. So, I mean, you don't want to anger people by cutting them off too soon.
That 3 into 20, you say it's an hour for 3 people?
Yes, ma'am.
We could do 45 minutes to an hour. It just depends. We'll say 45 minutes, but if we go over a little bit, no problem.
I'm fine with that.
We'll end it at an hour.
Okay.
We also can, and I know y'all start the meetings at 5:30 normally.
5:30, we can only have a board meeting at 5:30 because it's personnel.
So will you need a board meeting next Monday? So we need to start the end.
That's fine. Whatever day you say we're going to be through. We said the 17th, Doctor.
No, well, what I'm saying is, do you want us to start it at 5:30?
Yes.
We y'all need to have some time for a meeting.
Right. 5:30.
Okay.
It will start at 5:30 and it will be blocked out till 6:30. And if we use 45 minutes, great. And if we use an hour, great.
And you all will be able to interview the candidates for 30 minutes afterwards. And it will get you feedback.
Okay.
Before you make the decision. So that'll give us an hour or so to get the feedback to you.
Okay, then.
Okay?
All right, and thank you. It's 5 minutes to 11. Can we go home?
So
almost 12 o'clock here. So
okay, Dr. Davis, I got one more question. Okay, so if you got 3 candidates, so when we go in to vote, what is it? Just whoever have you got 6 board members and 3 candidates, or is it a runoff type thing?
Well, this would be, you won't have a matrix. It would be a show of hands, more or less.
Okay, and whoever has the most votes
Whoever
out of the 3.
You would do a straw vote. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you would do a straw vote, and whoever got the most out of the 3, that's the one that is selected.
Okay.
Unless
We
you-
need to have a motion to
unless you
close
want
the
to do
meeting.
the-
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we dismiss.
Second.
Second, it has been moved and properly second that we adjourn the meeting at 10:59. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good night.
Good
Good night,
night.
sweetheart. Well, it's sad.